All right, Jamie. I hoped you're able to get at the pool. I hope you're able to tan to enjoy the break from the
Oh,
rain that we got. Because
you can see the tan. Is it coming in?
yeah, no sunburn. Look at me.
No
I'm
sunburn.
I'm about the color of Elmer's glue over here. I need to get some more sun on me.
It's taken me. I've tried to get outside, especially over the last several weeks, but I feel like compared to previous years, it is a slow process trying to get enough sun to actually see some color. But
Yeah, we got some sun for the start of the week. Now we're getting back into that soggier pattern. We have seen
yeah,
so much rain in spring and
yeah,
more opportunities of rain as early as kind of overnight tonight, and then that can linger into Friday and
yeah,
potentially some more rain into the weekend. And we kind of want to break that down because we know it is
yeah.
Father's Day weekend and
And
people are wondering.
we talked about this. I believe it was last week. Or I know the week before, how we are definitely transitioning. I mean, people are tired of the severe weather and they're tired of
Yeah.
the rainy days. We are transitioning away from both. We are looking at more of a summer mode of weather. I mean, that's coming. It's tough to fight the calendar. I mean, we're pushing toward the middle of June. And as the United States and North America warms up, as we move from spring to summer, the jet stream lifts further north. And that jet stream really is kind of the focus for big storm systems and also the wind energy that drives the severe weather. So, as that continues to shift north away from the region, severe weather chances, like we've seen over the spring, those begin to subside in a big way. And we kind of get into that more summerish mode where you're going to get thunderstorms, but they're the pop up variety.
I think that's what we're tracking is there's a low limited chance of a tornado that could be occurring tomorrow, but we're not expecting a tornado outbreak by any means. It's just
No,
more
and
opportunities of rain.
here's the thing is it's like you almost don't want to say the word, but it's like you also don't want to not say the word because
Yeah.
you don't want somebody to come around and say, "Hey, well, you didn't say anything." And it's like we can see the risk. I mean, there are some very low level ingredients that could lead to a weak brief tornado. This would be overnight Thursday night.
Yeah,
But
let's talk about that
the
rain.
chances are very, very remote.
Let's talk about how Thursday is going to break down because we're talking about a potential wave of rain to start the day off on Thursday. This would be kind of
Mhm.
relatively light. And I don't think it's going to be
Yeah.
a massive
Yeah,
downpour.
actually, yeah. What we're
And
looking at is okay. The system right now, the core of it is located back toward the Red River, so between Oklahoma and Texas,
yeah,
and that system is going to slowly, in a very disorganized fashion, make its way northeast across eastern Oklahoma and then across Missouri during the day on Friday. So what we'll see tonight is risk of an isolated downpour early this evening, and then much of the night looks quiet. But you can see the steadier light rains to the south, and it's just a light rain that we're finding across much of eastern Oklahoma and western Arkansas. That will build north into the area closer to sunrise, and so we start the day off with that risk of light showers. We get a little daytime heating going during the day Thursday, where we have breaks in the showers. Those will probably be favorite spots for maybe some heavier downpours or an isolated thunderstorm or two to develop. So, scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms on Thursday. As the core of that storm, though, moves into the area Thursday night, we're probably going to find more concentrated areas of rain with some embedded thunder. And here's the setup, and the reason why there is a very limited, and I want to stress, very limited risk of severe weather is because the atmosphere is going to get saturated. And even though there's not a lot of instability, it's not a scenario where the rain completely works over the atmosphere, takes out the instability, and then you don't have any severe weather risk.
yeah.
There's going to be a little bit of instability, and so there's a little bit of buoyancy, and so it's possible given the nature of the winds that we're going to find I was telling Matt earlier, I hate these systems this time of the year because what we call convective vorticity centers, and this isn't necessarily truly a convective vorticity center, but it's the same kind of thing where you have these little eddies in the atmosphere and you have these very concentrated areas of higher wind energy. And this time of the year, because
Tough to
they're
forecast.
tough to forecast, and if you hit them at the wrong time of the day, especially, you can get small outbreaks of severe weather. We saw this last Saturday in southeast Missouri,
Yeah.
where several tornadoes touched down as a result of a leftover eddy in the atmosphere from morning thunderstorms that hit our area. So, again, I hate these things this time of the year, but it looks like Thursday night as that storm system, that upper level storm system, drifts into the area. It will bring with it a little bit more wind energy. Uh, Primarily, it brings with it what we call directional shear, where the winds shift from a southeasterly direction at the surface to more of a south to southwesterly direction higher up in the atmosphere. And that curvature with height in the wind direction, that generates a little bit of ambient spin in the atmosphere, which can get ingested into these weak thunderstorms that we would find overnight Thursday night. And it can lead to some small localized areas of stronger winds and possibly even a weak circulation. Again, the chances of that are very remote, but it's not zero. And I think the risk area for that will tend to be northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, south of I-44.
And the Storm Prediction Center kind of highlighting their area where they think these stronger storms could form. Bigger takeaways, just
And I was going to say,
more
Matt,
rain.
that risk wasn't there this morning.
Yeah, came in today.
So
and
they they're seeing the same thing that we're seeing, and they're like, we're gonna hedge our bets. We don't want to not call out something even though the chance is very limited.
And we were talking that this risk probably going to shift a little bit more tomorrow, expecting it to grow closer.
Yeah, don't be surprised if that marginal risk, that limited risk, expands a bit further north and northwest, closer to I-44. The bigger concern is
More
the
rain. Yeah, more rain.
The soils are still saturated. We have dried out some, but again, this is also a scenario where you have this time of the year, really any time of the year, but especially this time of the year because there's just a lot of atmospheric moisture. When these little eddies in the atmosphere drift through your area, they will sometimes lead to concentrated areas of rain, especially closer to the vorticity center or to the center of that eddy in the atmosphere. And there's not a lot of movement there. There's not a lot the word I'm looking for is that there's not a lot of push to get it out of the area that it develops within. So these pockets of heavier rain will develop, and then they just sit over the same location. And because there's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, you get high rainfall rates. And you can get, a few inches of rain in a short period of time. And we could just go back to, Matt and I were talking about this. I was trying to say, the last time I remember this happening recently, it was like, which one? Because
you're like, you remember that time we got about 2-3 inches of rain?
Yeah.
I'm like, there's like 4 times in the last 2 months that has been true.
It's played out. But the last one that I can really think of that this kind of reminds me of would be that event where Marshfield had 5 to 7 inches of rainfall. And that extended southwest.
Now that you think about it, I believe that was this event right here. I think I have the footage from that. That was towards the end of May, where a lot of the Finley River got to near record levels.
That was a weekend event. The Finley River was. I remember.
You're talking about a different one. We have so many rain events. I can't even figure out which one you're talking about.
This is one. It happened during the day, where it kind of started up along I-44, just south of I-44. South Springfield especially got hit with several inches of rain, extended up the interstate into the Marshfield area, and then as the day progressed, it gradually shifted southeast away from I-44. All that said, I think that we're looking at kind of a similar setup where there are going to be areas of rain that develop overnight Thursday night to persist into Friday morning. They're probably going to be concentrated pockets of rain that just won't move very much, and you could have localized areas where there could be some flooding as a result of several inches of rain falling. Matt had up the forecast.
Yeah, and let me flip this back. There's real quickly people that we got our break from rain. We didn't have it for Monday, Tuesday. Very few people saw an isolated shower, kind of isolated thunderstorm that formed later today. But rain chances really ramping up for Thursday, for Friday, and then we're still not done. I think you have a better chance to kind of stay dry over this weekend than to get an all-day soaker, but you still have the risk of rain for really the next, 5, 6, 7 days?
Yeah, and like you said, Matt, it's this, okay, Thursday and Friday, that's a storm system moving through the area. Once we get past Friday, we can't rule out weak little systems moving through, but generally, this feels like a very summer mode of weather where there's just, this time of the year, it's humid, it's warm, the clouds bubble up as you get into the afternoon. There could be little triggers in the atmosphere, but generally the rain chances are low. you're looking at spotty afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms. And I think that that's what we find for Saturday, Sunday into next week, which is good news for fathers, for Father's Day.
Yes.
If you've got some weekend plans, maybe you plan on using that new grill or that new smoker or those new golf clubs or whatever it might be. It looks like there's going to be plenty of opportunity to get outside. But it is also going to be a weekend where, especially later in the afternoon or early in the evening, you'll have to keep an eye to the sky. Listen for thunder. If you hear thunder, see lightning, you may want to think about getting indoors. It won't last long though.
Yeah, and that's what we're watching. Mostly a lot of rain coming back for Thursday, for Friday, and then still chances for rain that can linger afterwards. So can't guarantee you that this weekend is going to be staying 100% free of rain. Still have that risk that's going to be there, but really more concerns about just flooding. We're going to add more rain on top of what we have already seen for April and May.
And the rain Thursday night into Friday, again, many areas won't have to deal with flooding, but there could be some pockets, some localized pockets where 2 to 4 inches of rain may fall, and that could lead to some flooding, flash flooding in those spots. But it looks like it's going to be isolated in nature. But if we got some flash flooding in a few spots heading into Friday morning or even Friday afternoon, I will not be surprised one bit.
Yeah, we'll definitely be on top of it. We'll keep you guys updated. That's kind of our initial thoughts on it right now. Have a good weekend. Make sure you call your father this weekend too. Give him a good tie, a good grill.
Give him a phone call if you don't get to see him.
A good hug. How about that too? Thanks for watching.
Firm handshake.
Thanks for watching.